Next on The Shield, police force diversity makes headlines across Porter County.
Plus, part 2 of Change in the Church. We look at how people approach reforming the institution.
We saw a cloudy and sticky day today. We have a cold front to talk about coming tomorrow, and that will bring some big changes for your forecast. Right now, you're watching The Shield on VUTV.
Thank you for joining us here on The Shield. I'm Brendan Johnson.
And I'm Maria Bruno.
Well, diversity in our police force is a hot topic right now across the country. Shield reporter Andrew Whitmire has more on this issue affecting us right here in Porter County.
TV came down to City Hall to talk about diversity within our law enforcement at the Human Relations Council meeting. Almost 1 month ago, Darrell Williams was arrested back on August 29th for refusing to identify himself. It involved the Porter County Sheriff's Department and the Burns Harbor Police Department. This incident sparked outrage over police diversity in Northwest Indiana.
It was an incident that, number one, happened in our community. Number two, it's an incident that has raised a lot of questions. It's an incident that involved 3 black individuals. And so, you know, it's, in a sense, it's a part of what's going on in this country.
Indiana law does, there's state statute and court rulings that the officer can ask somebody to get out of the car in the state of Indiana.
When we asked the chair of the Human Relations Council if this violated the Fourth Amendment, he told us that it does not. The police chief of Valparaiso, Mike Brickner, said the best thing that you can do when you get pulled over is just comply with the officer.
Well, I would like to stress that Valparaiso is a very safe city. Very good, strong community. The university is part of that community. We take our job in policing very seriously. Our product is service and also protection. Protect people. So, I just would like, I believe we have a very safe community. And
one thing is for certain, there is a race and culture gap within our public safety departments, both at the city, county, state, and national level. According to the U.S. Justice Department survey, minorities of 2013, including blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, make up a total of 27.3% in our law enforcement. Due to the incident with Darrell Williams, some members of the community feel unsafe, both in Valparaiso and throughout Porter County. We asked the chief of Valparaiso City Police what can students do if they feel unsafe with our local law enforcement.
if they are uncomfortable or they feel threatened anywhere, I would hope that they have a resource here from the city or here at the city to be able to articulate that and make it be addressed and hopefully resolved. We have a very good county. Porter County, I think we're very fortunate to live in Porter County.
Reporting outside City Hall, I'm Andrew Whitmire, Channel 15 News.
Andrew will be back next week with a second part to this story.
Last week, we looked at how to discuss religious differences, a conversation prompted by Dr. Matthew Becker's removal from the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod clergy roster. This week, in part 2 of our exploration of the church, I talked with Professor Becker and Pastor Jim about the church and its capabilities for change.
Valparaiso University, a Lutheran school, change in the church is a topic that interests many students. I spoke with Pastor Jim and Professor Becker about this issue.
The Lutheran Church began as a change to the Western Catholic Church, and the Lutheran Church throughout the last 500 years has undergone significant changes in all sorts of ways.
It's not just that change has happened, but why?
I mean, I think that certainly as a human institution, there's a human component to being the church. It's a human organization. And insofar as human organizations are subject to flaw and failure because they're human institutions, there always needs to be a possibility of reform.
Not everyone sees eye to eye when it comes to change.
I think people disagree about the way in which change should be dealt with or addressed. And it's not just change for the sake of change, but typically it's issues that relate to the mission of the church.
I think the thing that needs to be acknowledged is that church institutions, like any institution, are inherently conservative. I mean, every organization is interested in maintaining itself and is going to really self-consciously adhere to its own core values. The call for reform only has traction when the reformers can point to the fact that the institution has lost touch with its core values.
People need to stay focused when looking into reform.
To go against the gospel, to somehow speak contrary to it would be a true loss. But to some extent, I want to argue, and other people have done the same, that the gospel itself creates a fundamental change. So I think it's important for people to, again, come back to the example of Christ and always ask themselves, is this really serving the church and its mission, or is it detracting from it? Is it in some way compromising the message of the gospel?
And homecoming also marked the dedication of the new addition onto the Chapel of the Resurrection. Held on Saturday, the Catherine and Mark Helge Center was officially recognized on the VU campus. The new center holds offices for staff, but is mainly for the use of students. Prayer rooms and workrooms were added for Valpo students to have a place to work and relax here on campus.
It's a day that we have long anticipated, that we've looked forward to literally for years. Lots of excitement around where we get to give thanks for the gift from Mark and Kathy Helge and really launch this part of the ministry forward.
This year, the Valparaiso University Chorale celebrated the 20th year under the direction of Dr. Christopher Koch. The chorale formed in the fall of 1995 and has developed into a premier ensemble. Throughout the years, they have traveled to numerous cities, famous concert halls, and rural communities, as well as musical conventions. They were joined Saturday by more than 70 chorale alumni and sung in joint pieces and in an alumni-only piece that sounded beautiful in the chapel.
Homecoming week was absolutely gorgeous. VUTV was out at the game against San Diego, where Taylor Krivis and Megan McCarver were also crowned homecoming
Super
king
exciting.
and queen. Sunny skies, warm temperatures, but right now Will Haenni is outside under some cloudy skies, and we'll send it over to Will right now outside for a first look at your weather. Will?
That's exactly right, Brendan. I'm standing under some cloudy skies right now, and you can also kind of feel the moisture in the air. Currently, we are sitting right around 78 degrees. The winds are out of the west at around 5 miles per hour. And you do see on that graphic right there over the airport, they are seeing mostly cloudy skies. Now, this is a big change in the forecast that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of minutes, and that is a cold front that will push through tomorrow, bringing the chance for some showers. And by the later portion of this week, we'll be seeing more fall-like temperatures. Brendan, Maria, back to you guys.
Thanks, Will. New discovery.
Next on The Shield, NASA scientists make a big announcement about one of Earth's close neighbors.
Plus, a former president voices his opinion about the next potential Republican presidential nominee. All that and more when we come back.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it... If dying young won't change your mind, baby,
broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music, on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my jam.
On a campus plagued with terrible weather, Valpo students suffer from boredom with no motivation to leave their room. They begin to search for free movies and stumble upon Valpo's new free movie streaming website, where you get unlimited free access to recent movies like Despicable Me 2 and Jobs at the tips of your fingers. So if you're feeling bored, then don't wait. Grab some friends, find a seat, and enjoy a movie on movies.valpo.edu.
And welcome back to The Shield. We begin with a huge announcement from NASA scientists regarding Earth's closest neighbor, Mars. Scientists made the announcement at a press conference today outlining some of the factors that led to the discovery.
What we're going to announce today is that Mars is not the dry, arid planet that we thought of in the past. Today we're going to announce that under certain circumstances, liquid water has been found on Mars. Our rovers are finding that there's a lot more humidity in the air than we ever imagined. As we ingest the soils, they're moist, they're hydrated, full of water.
Over the weekend, former President Bill Clinton sat down for an interview where he spoke about his thoughts on Donald Trump and about whether Trump could become the next Republican presidential nominee.
He said to the working class supporters of the Republican Party that have largely shifted over for cultural reasons. I'll give you economic reason to vote for me. I'll build a wall around the southern border of America and I'll stop buying Chinese imports. So your incomes will go up. Now, that'll all have to be fleshed out in the course of time, and I'm sure the future debates will do it. But he's got a lot of pizzazz and zip. He's branded himself in a clear way, and he's generated some excitement. And it remains to be seen what's going to happen.
Could Trump be the nominee?
I think so. I mean, how do I know?
I came out and I just seen him standing around in the car over here with all four doors open. I guess they'd already had him in custody.
And that's what William Burns of Banning, California had to say following the arrest of a man fitting the description of the suspect who killed at least 2 people. Early Saturday morning, police found 1 person dead and another injured inside a vehicle in Banning, just east of Los Angeles. 7 minutes later, a woman said someone shot at her, and after that, a man was shot and wounded inside a parked vehicle at a grocery store. Later, a driver was found dead in a crashed truck, and in each of these cases, surviving victims reported seeing a man in a white SUV. Police later found that SUV and conducted the arrest. Now, there's no word yet on the identity of the suspect, and no charges have been filed.
A transgender high school student in Virginia is raising big questions for a school board there. Which bathroom should that student use? As Mark Haenni reports, even a federal court is involved in that decision.
It's an issue that found Gloucester High School student Gavin Grimm in a federal courtroom just a few months ago. Grimm was born a female but identifies as a male. He was granted permission by the Gloucester County School Board to use the boys' bathroom, but that decision was later reversed, leading Grimm to a battle for use of the boys' bathrooms.
It increased the amount of anxiety I have going into school. It created a challenge that I never dreamed I would ever have.
Now, for the first time, neighboring New Kent County is considering implementing its own bathroom policy for transgender students.
This is a new topic, and we're learning as we go.
New Kent School Board Chair Sarah Barbara says they have unisex bathrooms in each of their schools, and so far there hasn't been any issues. But the school system is considering making an official policy in order to avoid any confusion among parents and students.
We wanted to be proactive and address potential concerns with the community.
Barbara says this is the first semester they've had to deal with the issue.
Our school division has 3,000 students. We have just a couple that have identified as transgender.
She says the school board will likely wait on a judgment in Grimm's case before making a policy, as New Kent County is in the same federal court district. Meanwhile, Grimm is hoping to gain access to boys' bathrooms, saying unisex bathrooms just won't do.
I'm a boy, so it's very uncomfortable for me to only have the option of the female restroom or a unisex option, because I'm a boy. I'm not a girl, and I'm not unisex.
That does it for national news. Storm Shield meteorologist Will Haenni has your full forecast when we come back. Stick with us.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it...
If dying young won't change your mind, baby, 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 right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVU.
Regional temperatures to start you off. Things are in the upper 70s right now. You see Champaign, they're a little bit warmer down to the south, still in the low 80s at this point. It doesn't feel quite that warm outside, and I think that's because of some of the cloud cover that we're seeing right now. You see up closer to the lake, 79 here in Gary, 78 here in Valparaiso, Michigan City, a little bit cooler as a result of that lake influence there at 75. Here's your clouds and radar, and this is a national perspective. So you see some activity off to the southeast and then as well to our northwest. And this is the front that we are going to be watching in 24 hours. This is going to bring the chance for some rain showers for us tomorrow and also bring with it much cooler temperatures. So we'll be talking about that in your forecast. Right now over Valparaiso, just some scattered clouds, not a whole lot of shower activity at this hour, but we do have the chance for a pop-up shower or two overnight. And I think the chance of that increases after most of us are in bed. So here's your future clouds and radar. Now this is the computer, what it expects to happen into the future. So you see that front and it does track its way through, and by around tomorrow at 10:30, that's when we could be seeing some showers and maybe even some thunder. I think it's mostly, though, going to be light rain. And by around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, that front has mostly pushed its way out of our vicinity, leaving us with some mostly clear skies for your Tuesday evening. Here's your future temperatures, 77 degrees picking up on right now, so pretty good, as we just saw. 65 degrees is your forecasted low overnight. I think we will be a little bit warmer than that, or cooler than that for our overnight low. And tomorrow we will warm into the mid 60s. And you saw that influence of that front. Here's your cooler air, warmer air. And that is going to be the story for the rest of the week. Here is your day. Specifically on Tuesday, we'll warm to around 67 degrees and we'll cool to around 59 degrees by the later portion of your evening. Here is your percent of precip, and here is your 7-day forecast. Tuesday, Wednesday, that's when things are going to be noticeably cooler, and by the later portion of your week, you'll be seeing mostly clear skies, but a little bit more fall-like in terms of temperature. So a definite difference from what we were seeing this time last week with all the sunny skies, the warm, above average conditions. This week is going to feel a little bit more like fall, but the good news is we won't be dealing with a whole lot of rain.
All right, I see that 43. I'm a little concerned, but all right.
It's fall. Get excited.
We'll try.
Thanks, Will. Coming up after the break, Parker Gatewood has an update on your Crusader athletics from this past week. Stay with us.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it...
If dying young won't change your mind, baby, 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 right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR.
Thanks for sticking with us on The Shield. I'm Parker Gatewood, and we have a lot to cover from homecoming weekend, so let's get right to it. The main event, per usual for homecoming, was the football game that took place on Saturday. The Crusaders took on San Diego in a game that had developed a good amount of hype since the teams met a year ago. If you recall, when the two teams did battle last year, the Toreros defeated the Crusaders on a Hail Mary as time expired, a devastating loss that Valpo hoped to avenge this past weekend. The game started off very tight-knit, and Valpo actually put points on the board first when Jake Newman opened up the game with a field goal. San Diego then scored twice and took a 10-3 lead in a halftime, but with the way the Crusaders were playing, it appeared as though the fans were going to be in for quite a show on homecoming. However, San Diego found the winning formula in the second half and scored 28 straight unanswered points. Valpo would end the game on another field goal, but the Toreros were just too much to handle in half number 2. They took this one by a final score of 38-6. And to kind of go along with that theme, anticipated rematches were the theme for the weekend on Valpo's campus. The past Saturday, the men's soccer team hosted Cleveland State, the team that bounced them from the Horizon League tournament last season by way of penalty kicks. Valpo had their chance for redemption, and they certainly made the most of it. Both teams were winless going into the contest, Valpo being one of the two to have a point in the conference standings for a draw. While the game was very back and forth in the first half, the Crusaders had quite a few more promising opportunities than the Vikings. Cleveland State had 5 corner kicks in half number 1, but it was Valpo who led in shots, 6-2. And as the 70th minute had passed, the game had still not seen too many stellar chances for either team. It looked like the game might have been heading to overtime. However, in the 71st minute, the Vikings had a sequence of untimely errant kicks, and it was Stan Sonbakog finding the ball in prime position and putting it in the back of the net to give Valpo the game's only goal and improving the Crusaders to 1-0-1 on the year. Volleyball and women's soccer were also in action, but they were on the road. Volleyball, they beat Northern Kentucky and Wright State, improving to 2-0 in Horizon League play. And women's soccer absolutely throttled Youngstown State 6-0, bettering their record to 1-0-1 in conference play. As always, for more, log on to valpoathletics.com. When we come back, Will is back for an upcoming week in weather, guys.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Join us in just a minute here.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it...
If dying young won't change your mind, baby, 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 right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my jam.
Welcome back to The Shield. That large, bright object in the night sky has been getting quite a lot of attention lately as a lunar eclipse dawned on the horizon over the weekend. Oftentimes referred to as a blood moon, this lunar eclipse was quite a special one, as it was the fourth total lunar eclipse to occur since 2014. A lunar eclipse occurs when the moon goes behind the Earth's shadow, and this eclipse appeared bigger and brighter across the country because the moon was at its closest position to the Earth. The entire United States could view this eclipse on Sunday, and some of us here in Northwest Indiana were able to get some photos despite cloudy skies. Now, the next total lunar eclipse visible to the U.S. will be in January of 2019. So an interesting one at that. Will now will join us for a final look at your Storm Shield weather forecast. Will, next week, what does it look like?
Well, it's definitely going to feel noticeably cooler these next few days, and I know from some of us, I think we're looking forward to that fall-like temperature, so I think in that boat. So Tuesday, it's going to be breezy out there. Chance of showers persists through early tomorrow afternoon, but as you can see, end of the week, mostly clear.
All right, well, thank you, Will, and from all of us here at VUTV, have a great rest of the week. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Thanks.